It. Shh. That's it. Silent mode. Okay. So welcome everybody, and I just am curious before we start in with Ratatouille. Um, how many of you saw East Side Sushi on Saturday night?
It was so great. What a surprise.
Not that many. Okay. All right. I was going to talk a little bit about it, but it's very few people, so I probably will not bother except to say that it's interesting in the way it plays with the same kind of gender and ethnicity tropes that we've been talking about, where it's a young Hispanic woman chef who wants to become a sushi chef, and the obstacles she faces, and the way she also calls out the Japanese restaurant owner, saying, it's in Los Angeles, in restaurants all over this city, people are turning out excellent food, and they're turning it out because they're Hispanics back in the kitchen, but you never let them come out to the front. And of course, on the other hand, her good friend, who is one of the sushi chefs, says, well, suppose I walked into a Mexican restaurant and all I saw behind the counter were Asians. How would I feel? So there is something about ethnicity and authenticity. But since very few of you, so it's in the video library. I recommend it. Enjoy it. Okay, Ratatouille. We're winding this up with Disney, and I am hoping at the end to show you about a 15-minute interview about chefs and animators, if we can get it to work. But we will be going to talk about some of the same issues, gender, and instead of ethnicity here, I think class is probably the best way to think about it, and profession. And here we have the ultimate transgressive chef. If women can be chefs, why not rats? And of course, since it's Disney and it's for kids, and we'll talk about briefly about commercialization and merchandising. You can go on the Ratatouille ride at some Disney parks. Anyway, so, and of course, Tucci himself, Stanley Tucci, had plenty of commercialization and merchandising of his film. Okay. So let's see. This was the only slide I could find that had a lot of characters on it. I actually don't care that much about the last two, but this is, so here they are, Remy, the rat, and inspired chef, his brother Emile, who doesn't really get it, Linguini, about whom we'll have more to say, Colette, Chef Skinner, and he was named the people who made the film say, for the psychologist B.F. Skinner.
Oh my
God. Then is Anton Ego, Chef Gusteau, and of course, if you pronounce it less Frenchly, it's Gusto. Django, who is Dad, and then there's Horst, who's the sous chef, and there's the maître d'hôtel, the chief of the front of the house. Is everybody clear on all the characters? Okay. All right. Okay, this is a film ostensibly for children. What difference does that make? So what do people think? What difference does that make that it's a film for children? I have my own thoughts, but anybody have anything to say about that? Yeah.
I got it. Sorry.
There's one there. I have to figure this out. I'll figure it out. I got it.
Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking this is a great way to reach younger people about a topic that they don't often get any in sort of a promotion of a career
Uh-huh.
and a combination of childish and adult themes.
Uh-huh. Interesting. So you see it as introducing so it's for children and lets them think about becoming a chef is what you're saying. Yeah.
Also, I felt looking at that when Gustav said, "You can do this,"
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you impetus or some kind of what am I trying to say? It would give you confidence, confidence, and also try.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, you have to really try. Leslie.
I think it's also don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
Never
Yeah.
assume.
Never assume. Right. 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 Oh, Kathy.
Okay, I know I'm an old lady and have gotten more childlike in my old age. But,
Welcome.
okay, but I was surprised because I thought it was scary. I think that was too scary. Maybe, but kids today are, of course,
What parts did you think were scary?
well, like when the lightning hit the roof, and some of the arguments
Yeah.
in the kitchen as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
were kind of scared me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Sue.
Also, all those rats running around.
You know that I refused to see this film for years because I was so horrified by the idea of rats in the kitchen.
I actually like rats
Uh-huh.
in general, but
Yeah.
I could see where that
Yeah.
is.
So did you think? How about the traveling through the sewer tunnels? I thought that was pretty scary.
But Disney specializes,
Yeah.
I hear, Disney specializes, there's always a terrifying scene in every Disney movie,
Yeah.
which is usually something horrible and villainous and
Yeah.
not real. This is, some of the scary stuff is real.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Right.
Remy was
Well, wait a second. Just a second. Go ahead, Eileen.
Remy was constantly being swatted at, shot at, stomped on.
Right. Right.
Almost. So
Yes. Right.
it's sad that kids don't find that funny. That was scary.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
Well, if scary is Ratatouille, what about the Grimm's tales? Eating children and.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, as I always say, as somebody with a doctorate in folklore, the Grimm's tales were not originally meant for children. I mean, so look, let's move on since this is only the,
I want to challenge the idea that kids don't like scary movies, because I think they do.
yes, I think there are a lot of people who just like to be scared. Not me, I'm not one of them.
And I think this wasn't really just for children.
Yes, well, that's another thing. Okay, but one thing that's unusual in the context of the films we've seen is that it deals with some struggles of childhood or adolescence, which is a central theme is the struggle to mature and find one's place in the world. Remy is caught between the pull of family, a family that he loves and that loves him, and the desire to go out into the world and make an independent life. He doesn't quite fit in with most of the rest of his family. Now, then there's Linguini. Linguini has no living family, but he needs to become a man in some way. He's a failure. And I guess one of the questions is, does he succeed? And if so, why? We'll think about that. Another sort of cartoon feature is the presence of a clear evil villain. You don't always have that in by the way, the same actor played Chef Wicker as played Pascal in the previous film. The evil, the partly evil restaurant owner who set the brothers up to fail. But it was the same actor. I guess he likes villains. In any case, so there's a real villain here, which is Chef Wicker, who has to be defeated. as well as a villain who's transformed by the action of the hero, that is Anton Ego. So these are more sort of the kind of plot you would expect, kind of plot I love, where good triumphs and evil is punished, and that kind of thing, which is juvenile to a certain extent. Okay, now here's something that somebody, I can't remember who, just a few minutes ago, already brought up. Notice that some characters speak with French accent, and some sound American, and I think Anton Ego sounds British. Why is that? Any thoughts? There are some thoughts back here.
Well, the French, the kitchen, the French are French, so
Yes.
they have the French accents.
But they're not all French.
But Remy doesn't,
Yes.
but Colette does, and the chef does, and the sous chef is German, so he has a German accent.
Yeah.
And the rats
And one of the other chefs is Haitian or something like
Something
that.
like
Yeah.
But then the rats are not French, they're rats. So they can have American accents.
Well, okay. And how about
He's a big
Anton
rat.
Ego? He's
And Ego is, I think the British accent just sort of enhances the ego.
Yeah.
The-
I mean, but they are French rats.
Yeah, well, here's the thing it's interesting about animals is that I've spent a year in France and
Uh-huh.
I once tried to call a dog in English and
Yeah.
he looked at me and then I said, viens, allez, viens, boom, he was with me.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, animals speak
Yeah.
and understand.
I think it's sometimes a proxy for class.
Well, we're going to get to that. Yes, go ahead.
That's pretty,
Yeah.
certainly the ego is, Britishy because it's very clear there's class in England. We've always looked at that. And then some of the others.
Put the
And some of the other, sorry, it's a proxy for class anyway.
Yeah.
I don't need to
Yeah.
give details.
yeah. Wait, Joan.
Joe, very good, okay. Shut up now.
Yeah, that's all right.
No.
Hold that close to your mouth,
Okay.
like an ice cream cone.
Yum, yum. Class. Oh, it seems like they're sort of using the popular idea or the popular notion that to be French and have a French accent is sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
And the food thing is, they want to be sophisticated, so speaking French or with a French accent enhances that.
Yeah. Notice that the one person who works in the kitchen who doesn't have a real French accent is who? One of the one kitchen worker who doesn't have a real French accent. Sounds like an all-American boy. Linguini. Now, his name is Alfredo Linguini, so maybe he should have an Italian accent. But anyway, go ahead, Dallas.
Yeah, I think that the food critic, he was like snobbish, so he very, very proper and very sure of his skills.
Yeah.
That's what I got from him.
But so are most of the people in the kitchen sure of their skills. But something occurred to me that nobody has mentioned, and I don't know what you think about this, but it seems to me that for kids to identify with a character, that is with Remy and Linguini, they have to talk in a way that makes them sound familiarly American. That is, I don't think the kids are assuming that they are American. It's just that they sound like normal people. And everybody else is marked by their accents. And I think you're right, Tony, that the rats have a working class English accent. Anyway, let's keep on going here. And that I like this clip because that's one of Remy's first fights with his father.
Yes, that's a great clip.
Yeah. The Disney experience, merchandise you can buy. Follow me, Remy. Suis-moi, moi, Remy. And that is follow me, Remy, in French. And then it says it in another language. Is that Italian? Segueto? Is it French? Is it Spanish? I don't really know. Yeah. Anyway, down at the bottom it says on the label. And then if you go through Remy's Ratatouille adventure in, I forget which Disney theme park, I think in Paris actually, as well as, yeah, well, the Eiffel Tower's in the back, but that's because it's in the film. And it's iconic in the film. And maybe at Epcot also, they have Remy's Ratatouille adventure. And there are many, 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 many figurines online that you can buy. And there seems to be a cookbook, but I couldn't quite figure out if it was real or not. It's called Anyone Can Cook also. Anyway, so plenty of opportunity to spend your money on Ratatouille stuff. Okay, anyone can cook. Although he says, what does he say after that when Remy first sees him on TV? You can only become great if you are, what did he say, fearless, brave, something like that. Only the fearless can become great. But is it true even in the film that anyone can cook? And if not, what does it mean? So what do you think about this? Leslie?
If you can read, you can cook.
If you can read, you can cook.
Yep, that's her philosophy. That's my
And
philosophy. That's what Julia Child said.
Yeah, here's, well, actually, I mean, again, speaking perhaps as a folklorist, you don't need to be able to read to cook. Because there are plenty of non-literate people who learn how to cook. In fact, probably many enslaved women.
I didn't mean that.
You didn't mean the contrapositive or whatever it is. You mean that you. Yes, right. That's true. Okay, go ahead.
Maybe anyone can cook is a slam of the classism that exists in the restaurant world.
Or in the world.
In the world.
Yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
You have to wonder how good a cook that Chef Wicker is, since the restaurant is failing before
Yes.
Ratatouille takes over. Nobody likes his food.
Yeah, and how does Chef Wicker use Gusteau's model for his own financial benefit? What's he doing? He's monetizing the reputation and selling frozen foods of all sorts, American, I forget what they all were, Chinese, all kinds of food. So Chef Wicker likes that motto because it means he can put out his newest line of burritos, or not corn dogs, but corn puppies. Okay, but another question is, how does the imagined ghost, is he real, is he imagined, where does he come from, of Chef Gusteau function for Remy? He appears and they talk to each other quite a bit in the course of the film.
He seems to turn up whenever there's a crisis or whenever Remy really needs him.
Right.
And it may be his memory, the impression he got as a young mouse, that this was really going to be his inspiration all through life.
Rat, not mouse. Go ahead, Leslie.
He's his mentor.
He is.
He mentors him.
And yet, if he is not really there, where is he? Go ahead, Sue.
Inside Remy's head.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got all that strength inside.
Yeah, he's internalized this, you could say, and it does give him the strength to go on. Okay, humans and rats. Is this about class struggle? So the question is, how do the rats in the rat colony act? Is that working class culture in some sense. Don't bother about your fine food. Eat something. You got to put something in the tank.
Yeah.
You showed a picture a few minutes ago of the scene of him talking to his father
Mm-hmm.
in the very beginning.
Yes.
And I thought that was a really great argument where both of them were right.
Yes.
And it encapsulated the theme of the film
Mm-hmm.
really nicely. And it basically said, I like fine food. I have highly developed taste,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that's become a passion in me. And
Mm-hmm.
his father says basically they eat to live.
Mm-hmm.
This is fine
Right.
with me.
Yeah.
I'm happy with where I am.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And in the crowd, I'm the head of the group. Whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And I found that just seminal.
Yes.
The centerpiece of what was going on. And as a result, I think a lot of these things that he's dealing with the chef are those internal arguments that he's having on the same general topic. Can I do it? Is it within me to do it?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of
And can I steal food for my family?
oh, that argument though about
Yeah.
stealing
Yeah.
and whether you are stealing
Yes.
I thought was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was right out of grad school.
Yeah. Yes. What should you do with the thief who steals a loaf of bread to feed his family? And yet, I mean, here is another thing, a very powerful theme where Django takes Remy to look at the shop window full of dead rats and rat poison.
Yeah.
So this is, well, no, it's a struggle to the death. Rats are not trying to kill humans. It's not dog eat dog. It's we are the underclass. They hate us, and they will do their best to kill us. Which is even more powerful than we are the hated underclass.
But from the human's perspective, rats are known
Mhm.
to cause death. Rats
Yes.
are transmitters of disease. And
Right.
so as far as rats aren't deliberately trying to
Yes,
kill
right.
humans, but rats do kill humans.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Actually, one of the extra shorts, which I'm not going to have time to show you, is a little short where Remy and Emile, his brother, are trying to defend rats and saying it's not rats who cause the disease, it's the fleas that are on the rats, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, back for a minute, maybe to that original struggle. What do you think? I thought this was really imaginative. The graphics that show how Remy is feeling when he eats things, those beautiful circles or lines and multicolors, and then I thought if they had to get, that was a good way, I thought, to get at these sensations, wonderful sensations of taste, short of distributing. Okay, so the question is, if it's a fight to the death in some sense, if humans see rats as really dangerous, can any humans be trusted? Can Linguini be trusted? Go ahead, Elaine.
I think the whole point of the story is that Remy teaches people that they can be trusted. And
Yes.
his girlfriend leaves when she sees all those rats, but then she comes back, so she learns something.
Uh-huh.
And the message of the story is not all bad things have to be bad all the time.
Right. Leslie?
Sorry.
But the fact is that Linguini does turn on him
Yes.
at some point. So it's a fragile piece.
Yeah.
It's a fragile piece.
It is a cross-cultural, you could say a cross-class relationship, and therefore rife with misunderstandings. At the very beginning, when Linguini takes him into his apartment and he says, he gets up and he sees, the eggs are missing, the cheese is missing, or whatever. He says, I should never have trusted a rat. He's taken the food and left. So can he trust Linguini? Well, in fact, in human terms, Linguini thinks it over and comes back to him. And that seems to show the rats who witnessed this scene that at least this human can be trusted. Now, here's another interesting thing which was pointed out in some of the reference material I read. Do any female rats appear, or is this just a masculine working class culture?
There are only a couple of spots where you could, there's one where the rats are escaping, and you can hear a female voice say, here, take my baby.
Yes, right.
Before that, there was an appearance of at least one rat who was definitely female. Those are the
I
only two
missed that.
remember.
I missed that one. The only one I noticed was you hear a female voice and you hear somebody saying, here, and she does say, here, hold the baby, or something like that. So there is that small reference to females and babies, but it is, and maybe this is perhaps accurate about certain kinds of working class culture. It's a homosocial, it's a male bonding, a male culture. And we don't get to see their domestic life except as part of a colony. Okay.
And yet, when you see those big crowds of rats,
Yeah.
and you think of rabbits multiplying,
Yeah.
you think of these rats multiplying, and you've got to have a lot of women for that.
That's right. You have to have a lot of female rats if you're going to have babies, but you don't know really what the view. I mean, we never hear Remy's mother talk to him about it. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so here we go on to gender issues, which we've covered in most of our films. And going back to Chef Chu in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, for both Chef Chu and Linguini, the ability or seeming ability to cook at a professional level is bound up with their masculinity. Chef Chu needs to recover his masculinity, his potency, as a widowed man who has retired from his profession. Linguini is an immature but sweet young man who seems to fail at everything until Remy makes him appear to be a cooking genius. How old do you think Linguini is? 20-ish. How old do you think Colette is?
Might feel older, maybe 30-ish.
Yeah, interesting. So,
He looks like 13, I believe.
what I kept thinking is, why does she fall for this ne'er-do-well?
Yeah,
Looks up to her.
He does, and he is forced by Remy into kissing her. So just to say, there are minor female characters. The old lady in the farmhouse who watches Chef Gusteau on TV, Renata Linguini, who's dead before the film starts, Gusteau's lover and Alfredo Linguini's mother. Solène Leclerc is important because she's a restaurant critic who tastes Linguini's or Remy's soup. Anton Ego's mother briefly appears. And again, no female rats. So Colette herself, so if we look at Colette, what's she holding in this picture, by the way?
Pepper spray.
Pepper spray, a can of mace or something like that. Because she thinks he's nuts and she's afraid of him. So Colette herself states that the reason she's the only woman in the kitchen where cooking is regulated by rules of stupid old men who make it impossible for women to cook is because she's the toughest cook in the kitchen, which she reinforces with her display of knives. And so why would Colette fall for Linguini?
This just occurred to me as you were talking, I was thinking about it, is that Colette, because of this situation, she has to work double hard
to get where she is.
Mhm.
She is 100% focused on her career
Mhm.
and on moving up. She has no time, no energy, no interest in developing a love life.
Mhm.
That's just not part. And so when she suddenly has this human contact with a male,
Mhm.
even if it's linguini, I think she
That's the thing.
suddenly
Even
feels
if it's
something.
yes, right, right.
The first
right.
time she feels there's this something that she feels.
Anybody else? I mean, she thinks he's a great chef at first.
I think the plot needs somebody for Linguini, and if he's going to inherit the hotel, he needs somebody up front or some normal person to be part of
Yeah.
the new restaurant.
Well, I mean, and he certainly appears extremely eccentric, right? Because Remy is yanking him around. You know. You know. And yet he does appear to have great talent as a chef, which again can cause Colette to respect him, appreciates interest.
Yeah, I have to say.
I hate that
I
phrase.
identified with her.
Yeah.
And it's partly, but I was puzzled that she accepted.
Yeah.
I mean, she was unhappy. She was angry about these rules set down. But she couldn't find a way, which I understand, to change the rules. And so she just was going to she was going to be the exception. The reason I identify with her is that when I went to grad school, there were 2 women in my class out of 500. And so both of us had to make choices about how we were going to present ourselves and whether we were going to bond with the rest of the class. So I totally identified with that, but I felt that I had to figure out a way to either accept being different or work within it. And anyway.
Well, as I've said to you, Tony, tell me about it. My mother was a physicist. So,
same thing.
and a lot earlier than you were in business school.
Well, we had to work. I don't know what kind of physics you were, but we had to work in teams.
Yeah.
Because corporations would like that.
Yeah.
And also, they wouldn't let women into jobs that faced the public. So, because I was in finance, I was in the background. It wasn't so hard.
They wouldn't let her into a professional job. She was a typist in a chemical company, but at first. But in any case, without saying that, yes, Colette is struggling hard in a man's world. It still is a man's world. It's still very hard for women to get ahead. But that doesn't really explain to me the appeal of linguini to her. Anyway, we'll go on to another topic. Okay, the transformative power of eating wonderful food. And that is something that's shared across many of these films. It's important in Babette's Feast, in Like Water for Chocolate, in a more realistic way, perhaps, in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, and certainly in Big Night, both the party and the transformative reconciling power of that simple breakfast the next morning. And Anton Ego is eating ratatouille, which is not haute cuisine. It's not the fancy stuff at all, but cuisine de pays, country cooking. So how does this dish affect him? How is it able to transform him? And let's see if this will work.
At Wayfair, ordering it delivers all the style.
Just let it
What are they
go.
creating?
Yeah, just let it
A little
go.
Italian.
Just let it go.
Stop it. Italian will pair great with this cold red. What are you in the mood for tonight?
Taking something light.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh.
It's here. Oh, that was fast.
And delivery was free.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
That must be joking.
Notice that his ratatouille looks different from the one in the restaurant.
Yeah, took it back this time.
Okay. So how does this dish transform him?
It reminds him of his almost authentic real self,
Yeah.
as opposed to the facade he puts on.
Yeah.
And also, those childhood emotions are powerful, and
Yes.
suppress them a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. It took him back to his childhood.
Yes.
It reminded him of his mother's cooking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a broken bicycle in the doorway.
Yes, that's
So
right. He's very sad about
food-
that.
Food is a great repair.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of Proust.
Mm-hmm.
Who
And the
bites into
Madeleine.
the Madeleine, and
Yes.
suddenly it's à la recherche du temps perdu.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So because he recognizes its power to transform him, to bring him back to that experience, he becomes a better person. Okay, what is ratatouille anyway? We had it for dinner last night, the night before, I forget. Ordinary ratatouille is a traditional. So, look, did you notice that the dish his mother gave him looked nothing like the dish he was served? And I make ratatouille myself all the time, although I leave out the eggplants because I hate eggplant. But it's a traditional recipe from Provence made of tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, eggplant, onions, basil. My recipe has cucumbers in it too that are cooked, interestingly. And it looks like that. And here, what turns out to be the case, and we'll see a little more about it. How many of you have heard of the famous restaurant in California called the French Laundry? Anyway, it's a very fancy, very famous restaurant. And the man who heads it up is a chef named Thomas Keller. And he, as we're going to see, if I am successful in showing you the interview that I'm hoping to show in a couple of minutes, he and his team worked very closely with the animators. And this was his version of the dish. So as I have it here, the art of cooking and the art of animation, and this is a video which compares the two arts, with both Thomas Keller's on it and the animators are on it and the producers on it. So to create the food animation used in the film, the crew consulted chefs from both France and the United States. Brad Lewis, the producer, interned at Thomas Keller's The French Laundry restaurant, where Keller developed the confit bialdi, a dish used in the film. And actually, he didn't invent it, it turns out. Confit bialdi. Anybody know Middle Eastern cooking? Any of you ever heard of Imam bialdi? It's a dish called meaning the Imam fainted. Yes. Anyway, it's an eggplant dish. But confit bialdi is a variation on the traditional French ratatouille by the French chef Michel Gérard. Some of the animators attended cooking classes at San Francisco area culinary schools to understand the workings of the commercial kitchen. Here, just we see, and we'll see more of it in the thing we're about to see, I hope. You can see how somebody poses for the animation, and they do that with a lot of things. And they talk a lot about the way they used light in the animation to make the food seem translucent or whatever it needed to be. So now we are going to see if we can actually play this interview.
Over the last several years,
There it is.
not only did I have a chance to work with Brad Bird, the writer-director of Ratatouille, but also with Thomas Keller. And Thomas is one of America's finest chefs. He owns a French Laundry per se. And when you see these guys work, you start to see a similar, not only sparkle in their eye and you know, how they do what they do, but also they're really intense. They've got this attention to detail, and they're very passionate about their work. So one's about cooking, and one's about making great movies, but there is this harmonic in their approach. So I sat down and had a conversation with both of them, and they shared a little bit of their perspective.
All right, for two tasting. Some wine custard, please, for oyster pearl. Some of Suzuki for a lobster chef.
See any women?
No. Not yet. Speak up, Chef Tudorachi, when ready.
Anybody can cook. It's just you have to have the desire, the determination to make something that you're going to feel proud to give to somebody, have that emotional connection with somebody. I think you have to be emotionally attached to what you're doing. And certainly with food, I mean, it's very easy because it's something that nurtures.
You're constantly trying to get the audience into the state of feeling and how things feel rather than how things are. You are trying to get to a very primal, very simple, I think, nourishing thing, which is indulging in the human aspect of being alive. Every idea comes about in its own way. I had an idea for a film that started with me hearing a song and thinking it was another song.
Walking down the aisle of a grocery store and seeing a purple box of pearl tapioca, and you see a word that says pearls, and you associate that with an oyster, and then come from that as a dish.
Other things come out of just a thought that you have of what if, or superheroes must feel defeated sometimes.
And the food can be so inspiring. Comes in this raw form. You think, okay, what am I going to do with this? What are we looking at when we're trying to define a new dish? We're really looking at the end product. What do we want to see in the dish? What do we want to feel in our mouth? What do we want to smell? What do we want to taste? And then we work backwards in establishing the different techniques or the different products that we're going to use that are going to result in that end. Take the cornet of salmon, which we do here. The inspiration came from an ice cream cone. From that ice cream cone, I actually saw that salmon cornet. And then working back and trying to figure out the technique. I mean, how many times have you had a cracker with cream, onions, and salmon? Many times. But it's surprising and what's amusing about it is the shape.
The mistake that a lot of people make is thinking that you can force ideas to come. You can't, really. All that you can do is observe what kind of environment puts you in a creative state of mind, and then try to create that environment.
Take the example of cleaning a salmon. When you clean a salmon every day for 10 or 15 years, I mean, it becomes part of who you are. You don't really have to think about cleaning the salmon. So by doing that kind of task, you're actually liberated to be thinking about other things. And at that point, you can start to think about not cleaning the salmon, but what am I going to do with the salmon after I clean it?
Is that a traditional way you've done in the past versus flat, or
I
is it
just
something
did it.
you're just doing on the fly?
Let's just do it.
That's great.
You know, sometimes things just get you at the last moment. One of the exciting things about doing something spontaneous is the risk. Are you going to fail or are you going to succeed? If you succeed at it, how can you make that dish feel spontaneous over and over and over again without it becoming somewhat old in your feeling. And I think that really is about us as cooks, making sure that each dish that we do is something that is as fresh and as dynamic as it was the first time that we did that.
Animation is the same way. It's not a spontaneous act, but if you do it artfully, you get the feeling of spontaneous thought. I've seen people shoot footage of themselves and watch it and literally pick a little part from this shot and then a little bit from take two. Oh, I like that thing.
You remember this in the film?
My hands there. I didn't know I was doing it, but look at it. It's kind of cool. If I put that over here, it kind of assembles spontaneous moments. That can be put into a scene that feels spontaneous, but it has the graphic power, moment to moment, of precise visual decision making. If you do it well, it will feel spontaneous.
My mother ran restaurants, and as the youngest of 5 boys, I spent a lot of time after school in the restaurants. And how that manifested itself into me becoming a cook really was just my mother would give me a job. I mean, I had job security. I have a mentor, Roland Hennon, and I met him in the early 70s, and he was a chef in a private club in Rhode Island where I was working. And he made me understand that there was an emotional connection when I was actually cooking for somebody in a way that brought them pleasure. And that was really the moment that changed my points of view on what I was doing and why I was doing it. I started to look for role models for other chefs that I wanted to be like. And there was one chef that really stood out, Ferdinand Point. His book, for me, really resonated what the qualities of a cook were. And that was about the product, and about execution, and about interpretation of what you know how to do, what you feel inside yourself, and how to express that onto a plate.
Well, I made a film starting at age 11 that took me 3 years to make. And I entered it in some contests and it won some awards. And I sent it to Disney. They responded right away and were amazing to me. They opened their doors and said, you can work with one of our great animators. Whenever you're in LA, the door is open. And I made sure I got to LA. So I got assigned to work with Milt Kahl. And Milt was one of the greatest artists that has ever lived. And he was tough. He was tough. I mean, he did it in a nice way. He wasn't cruel to me, but he let me know absolutely where I was coming up short. The Disney guys constantly showed you how to draw things so that the audience clearly saw them. They were the best graphic representation of an idea. But to do it in a way that didn't look like you were striking poses, that looked natural and felt flowing.
And I went to Paris, where it was a wonderful time. I was able to get jobs in different restaurants and experience France. And I model so much of what our organization is about on that restaurant called Taillon, on that role model, Jean-Claude Vinot. I mean, he's just an extraordinary restaurateur. Every morning I'd walk through the courtyard and I'd look up to the second floor window of his office, and he was there every morning. Every night I left, he was there. He was there all the time. And you look at that, and those examples of people like that, and you understand what makes them great. Commitment.
Everybody's been working their butts off on this film, and it's a hard film to do. But now we have a straight shot here where we have to kick into gear because we are not going to get the film done if we don't sail into this new year. I think that what you try to do is get people excited by what you're excited about. You still see Skinner's hand, and suddenly there's just stairs going down, and he's airborne. And we gotta have that, man. That's like the greatest shot ever. I really love capturing moments, and I love trying to hit new standards. And if I can get somebody to see that little carrot out there, and it's just there, it's like they're here and it's wonderful, it looks great, but if they go this much further, they can make the shot that nobody's made. Okay, we got it. Yay! Woo! If you can make them feel that, they get that little extra oomph and they feel wonderful later because so many people have greatness in them. You know what I mean? It's just coaching it out of them.
You put a little bit too much pressure on the bread when you're slicing it. That's why it crumbles on the edges on you. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
It's not about perfection, it's about the quest for perfection. That's the motivating thing. Because you realize once Once you think it's perfect, it's no longer perfect. It can't be. I mean, I think it's perfect, and therefore it's not.
You could finesse that turn by a couple of frames. People have told me that I can be demanding, but I think I'm enthusiastically demanding. I don't think that I'm mean about it. I think that I go, great, now if you could just do one more thing, it's fantastic, great job. Can you do one tiny little thing? I have 2 minor notes and they're not a big deal. You got it. The only thing you need to do now is just a little bit of eyelid stuff and a little bit of more brow stuff. I'll go, can I get this, this, and this? And then that'll be it. And then they'll give me that, that, and that, and I'll see one more thing that would make it better. And I can't help myself. I'll go, just, can we get the
It's like anything in life when you do something, you know, what makes it better? What makes you better than somebody else? It's your understanding of what you're doing and being able to just tweak it, to finesse that a little bit. The way somebody plates a dish, you know, it's not just putting it on the dish. You've got to finesse the way it goes down. Look at it, think about it. Make sure it's right there. Tweak it a little bit. Make it just off center. Do that.
If you try to over control the process, you limit the process. I mean, I have a pretty strong idea of what I want, but I don't feel that I create an atmosphere where people can't speak up and have ideas, because oftentimes people come up with wonderful ideas that are going to make the movie better, and you'd be an idiot not to take them.
And I'm a firm believer in collaboration. You really have to have a lot of courage as a young cook to be in that process, because many times you'll say something that won't be impactful. And for somebody who's young, it kind of shuts them down. You just have to keep that process going. You have to keep encouraging them to think about what they're doing in a way that they can then give you something back. They can own what they're doing in a way, and once you own it, it becomes yours. The level of execution, the level of commitment is heightened that much more. We have signs in our restaurant which says sense of urgency. And it's so important that from the time you get to work, you live with that phrase in your head, making sure that you're focused on the task, and making sure that you're gonna get there to get the task done. And then you're gonna move on to the next one. It's the pressure of the situation that makes you achieve a higher performance.
Every second counts and you cannot be mumming.
It's a sense of energy that you get, and that's that energy and that excitement that make you perform that much better in that pressure situation.
If you think about what you're doing logically, you are trying to invent what an audience that you likely will never meet will enjoy 2 years from now. But you can't think of it that way. You have to think about it in terms of, what do I want to see? What delights me?
So really it's looking to ourselves and saying, are we happy with what we've done? Am I happy with what I've done? Is the most important. This is what we gauge our success on.
So I think that you've got to make something that pleases you and hope that other people feel the same way.
That's an emotional connection, where you have that emotional connection in what you're doing with food, you have emotional connection with your guest, with your staff, and the supplier. You're all together. You're all on the same page there. But I think one of the most motivating things is setting an example. You're a chef de partie, I'm a commis. You're setting an example for me that makes me want to be you.
I want people to be excited about the medium. I want them to be proud of their work afterwards.
Your legacy, really, is to be able to pass on to somebody else the task, the philosophy, the culture that you established yourself.
And if I can help grow that feeling about the film, about the medium, and working in it, then I feel like I'm doing a good thing, because I love this medium.
Okay. All right, let me, so we just need to turn that off, turn this off, because that was the end of this. There are other It's a different style of animation. They have some of their shorts or anyway. Okie doke. All right. Come on, folks. How do I get out of here? That's it. Okie doke. Any last thoughts?
That was terrific. That was great.
Yeah.
Terrific. That
Yeah.
last piece, not
Yeah.
you were wonderful too.
No, I know I'm not Thomas Keller. I would love to be, but I don't aspire to be an animator. Yeah.
Do you have any ideas for future programs that are kind of off the wall like this?
I haven't thought about it yet. We'll see.
We'd like you as a teacher.
Well, I love to teach, as you know. But in any case, I actually, since I'm quite partial to cooking, I actually feel like it's a little bit of chutzpah to claim that animation is as great an art as cooking, but I know other people could feel other ways.
But that documentary, that did it. That
Yes.
showed what a wonderful
Yes.
parallel between
Yes.
the animator and the chef.
Yes, and especially in both cases where it is a group project. That is, it's not me cooking at home in my kitchen, it's a chef with a full staff. And animators, I mean, I don't know whether they are, they have distinct titles for different people, but in any case, that's, yeah.
I do think I saw a female in the kitchen.
You did.
And she was blonde and she had her hair up.
I didn't catch it,
And
yeah.
unless it was a guy with really long hair that was back in.
Well,
thought it was
I didn't see that
was a
person. Well, maybe.
I think it was a female.
You listen to the Food Channel and all the
Yeah.
competitive food shows.
Yeah.
There are many, many females.
Right, right.
Equally, almost equally divided.
Yeah. Yeah, it may still be, and also, of course, this short was made in about 2007. Maybe Thomas Keller now has more women in his kitchen, but I think there's some, and well, anyway.
Part of it is, and I'm relating this from my nephew, who is a CIA grad.
Mhm.
Love to cook. He's a fine chef.
That's the
Very-
Culinary Institute of America, not the Central Intelligence Agency.
Right, yeah. And he gave up commercial cooking because it's grueling.
Yes.
It's grueling in the kitchen. It has to be hot so the food stays hot. Everybody's running around. He could say it's exciting, but it's exhausting. And half the times you have to plaster yourself up against the wall
Uh-huh.
as someone else is racing back and forth.
Right.
That is the stress of it, and he just
Right.
gave it up.
Yeah. Well, anything else? Thanks very much. Oh, Sue has something? You say something? No, okay, yeah.
Thank you, Howard.
Well, yeah, right.